Hello, my name is Mandy Yang and I'm a current sophomore at Woodbridge High School, and I am also a member of our school's journalism staff. I'm a copy editor for our news magazine, The Golden Arrow, and this was last year's senior issue. I have so much fun in journalism, and I'm really excited to be applying for J Camp. I'm going to be talking about my journalism experience, why I love journalism, and why I want to get into J Camp, which is pretty cliche for these sort of applications. So I've been in journalism for 2 years, since my freshman year, because I'm currently a sophomore. In my freshman year, I was a staff writer for the Golden Arrow news magazine, and this year I'm a copy editor for basically all of the sections. I've copy edited for all of them, even though on paper it seems like I am just a copy editor for news and in-depth. I've actually copy edited for features, opinion, A&E, features, and sports. I've done them all. I've also helped with a lot of visual aspects of it, like editing photos, taking photos, dealing with the visuals and graphics. I've been part of Golden Arrow for 2 years. First year I was a staff writer. I learned a lot about journalism, and then this second year I've been doing a lot more like actually things that are in the magazine that you would expect to be seeing, like dealing with the editing and the writing and also the visual aspects, the InDesign and everything like that. I participated because I'm born in Orange County and I've been raised here, and I go to school in an Orange County school. We have a journalism competition hosted by Orange County Journalism Education Association, or OCJEA, as you can see here. There we go, it's focusing. It's a competition called the Write-Offs, and last year I participated in the editorial writing assignment, and our school hasn't placed in editorial for like basically the past 10 years, and the last time that somebody placed, they were like a really strong writer. They actually became a professional journalist, and she placed 5th, and she was our editor-in-chief. It was her 4th year in journalism that she placed. So last year I participated. I didn't place because, after all, I was like still learning how to write these sort of things, still learning about voice, putting my attitude into it, putting my views into it, and how to write in a way that actually was fitting for a professional journalism article in editorial. This year I participated in the editorial assignment again, even though I had the opportunity to switch to other assignments or switching to other parts of the competition. But this year I'm really happy to say I placed 3rd in editorial, which is a really amazing experience. As of the time that I'm filming this, which is March 10th on Sunday, we're going to have our next competition next week on March 16th in Long Beach for SCJEA, or Southern California Journalism Education Association's write-offs. It's going to be all of Southern California, basically every single county from Southern California. They're all coming to Long Beach, and we're all going to be participating in SCJEA. They control the number of students that get to participate in news, professional news writing, sports writing, and editorial and features, I believe. And it's the top 5 places from each county, and I am really happy to say that I'm going to be participating in SCJEA. Because I'm filming this earlier on during the month and I haven't had time to it hasn't reached the time where I actually go to compete, I'll be putting what place I get in the description box of this YouTube video. Now moving on to what I love about journalism. Journalism is such an amazing experience for me. Last year I was one of the only freshmen in the class because we have beginning and then advanced journalism. I was a beginning journalist, but because at the time beginning and advanced were the same class, we've also so I was a staff writer for the actual Golden Arrow, even though this year advanced and beginning journalists are split up. So being a staff writer in the Golden Arrow, like, really, it was an amazing experience for me. I had so much fun writing for it because I got to see all these different styles. And even though last year I wasn't really a copy editor and I was involved in the editing process and putting things onto paper, I still had a lot of fun watching, like, my friends, my seniors, had so much fun watching them actually put things onto paper. I really loved our in-depth section from last year. Our in-depth section, it's what I hope to become editor for next year, and it's been such an amazing experience. It was such an amazing experience to be just like a staff writer. But this year I've gotten the opportunity to become a copy editor. As I said earlier in the video, I've basically been copy editing for almost all of the sections, and I've gotten to see all the different styles, all the different ways that they get portrayed, and all these different ways that they get edited. For example, I've noticed, like, news is always, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's news. It has, like, the inverted pyramid writing structure. It's very straightforward as to how to write it, and it's been very straightforward to copy edit for it because the layouts are very simple. The layouts are very clean cut and pristine, and it's it's like the easiest to copy edit for, if that's understandable, because there's the fewest visual details compared to, let's say, the other section that I'm supposed to be copy editing for. I copy edit for in-depth. In-depth is very different. It's so different. It's very visual. It's very visual heavy, how to arrange things in certain ways that are very visually appealing, and how to make it seem like how to make it seem the most visually attractive, because in-depth is such a visually heavy area. The focus on the visuals is very heavy compared to news, and opinion is always overly text heavy because of the way that we write a lot of our stories. It tends to be more text heavy. So the way that I've helped our editor incorporate color is that we do backgrounds of a certain color. I can't show you this. I don't have our next issue, which comes out on the 15th, but one of our stories, I wrote my story on cultural assimilation and how it's not an obligation for a person to culturally assimilate into American culture, and that they can choose to remain separate and their own entity culturally. And so the way that we helped, because it was such a text-heavy story, it was one page, it was like 600 words, it's very text-heavy, obviously. So the way that we used to incorporate more color and visuals was that we, instead of having just like our traditional, for news, here I'll show, for like our opinion, we have all of our text at the top, and then we have like a visual at the bottom. Or like this one, it's split because it was a co-written story. It was two different views on one thing, flip teaching. It was a lot of text at the top and the bottom, and then a bit of visual color in the middle. Because that was the way that our editor structured this. A lot of the time we had to switch it up, and I felt that one way that we could incorporate more color was to make the background a certain color. So for my cultural assimilation story, because I am Chinese American and I really love my Chinese culture, so because we're coming out slightly after, it's been about a month after Chinese New Year, so the background has to do with Chinese New Year. It's this one giant wall of like red pink, because red is like a very important color for Chinese Americans and Chinese people in general. It represents luck and the new year, and it represents all things that are good. Basically, it's fertility, it's luck, it's the color of the water that makes our land fertile for culturally. So it has a lot of cultural significance. So the background was all red, and there was this one cartoon at the bottom that had to do with food. It had to do with New Year's food. And so I've had so much fun like learning how to edit, or at least structure different sections, and how to make things more visually appealing for other people to look at, because that's literally one of the most fun parts, I feel like. Getting to see your work come to life and have people read it in front of you, and you get to see how they react to it. And that's been actually one of my most loved parts about journalism. I've written so much in the past. I'm 15 years old. I've spent probably the past 10 years of my life writing, and creating stories, and I wasn't always very, like, I didn't usually write nonfiction when I was younger, but as I've grown up, I've written more and more nonfiction because, first of all, school, and then now I'm a part of journalism. But I used to write a lot of fiction, and I never got to see anybody actually read it or react to it, and so I've never had that much of an appreciation for my own work because I've never seen how people react to it. And with journalism, I got to see how a lot of people reacted to my work and how they read my work, what parts that they thought was cool, what parts they thought was boring or interesting, and it's helped me develop my own type of writing. I used to write in a way that, like, seemed appealing to myself, but now I know how to appeal to a lot of different people, and I'm really, really glad that journalism has given me such an opportunity, and I've gotten to write for our school's newspaper, and I've never felt luckier for that in my entire life. J Camp would offer so much for me, and I've always been really interested in visuals. I've been picking up little bits of, like, like photography assignments, and I've been doing some photography for our school's newspaper, but I've never gotten to actually focus on the visual stuff because I've always been a writer. I've always done the writing part. I've never really been heavily involved in the visuals other than copy editing and editing for certain sections and helping with visual things. I've never been, like, a person that was really heavily involved in the visual aspect of our school's newspaper. And JCamp has, like, certain options that allow me to really focus on that, or allows me to take a deeper look into it, and it'd be fun if I could just, like, figure some things out and try that out. But of course, like, writing is actually, it's still what I love the most, and it's still what I really, really want to participate in, and JCamp offers such an amazing opportunity, and it would mean a lot to me if I received such an opportunity. Of course, like, that sounds really, really cliche, and I know it as I'm saying it, but it would literally mean the world to me to have, like, an experience with JCamp, because I've had friends go to this, or at least apply to this, and they say that like JCamp was something that was really, really fun. It was so much fun for them. They met a lot of new people. They had a lot of fun participating in this camp, and I really want to have this opportunity, and I've been trying really, really hard. I've been working very hard on my journalism. I've written a lot in the past year. I've done double the stories than what normally is assigned, and I've worked very, very hard, and it would mean the world to me to be able to participate in JCamp. And because this is such a long video, I just wanted to thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for actually listening to me ramble on for the past, at this point, 13 minutes. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to any opportunities or anything that I may hear from you guys. Thank you, and goodbye.